Right, welcome back to the weekly yarns. Well, what a busy week this has been, hasn't it? Huh? Getting the engine running twice. First time, but again, the system was full of air from messing on with it. Second time, again, we bled a little bit of air out of it because we had the cold start screw out of the pump, which let a bit of air in. So we bled that back out, but we've got it fired up. And all I need to do now, well, I'm saying I'll come back to that in a minute. Right, so what else are we getting done? Valve chest finally gives up the spool, thanks to Campbell. So, as well, Friday the Agri Expo was on, crossing Carlisle Mart. Big event, people from all over the country, from Devon, the Cotswolds, a lot of Scottish people there. A massive event. Anyone who knows Carlisle Mart, when you cross the M6 on the 69, Carlisle Mart's immediately on your left. Go down the traffic lights, turn left, Carlisle Mart's there. In the back of the mart is this enormous car park. Behind that car park and between the mart and the M6 is another yard car park. We didn't even get into that one. We had to go down the road, back over a little bridge, over the M6, and there was a field on the left. Had been prepared as a spillover car park, and even that was getting full. So that'll tell you how well supported it was by the public and the farming community. But also when you get inside, the place was absolutely heaving with commercial stands, breed societies, everything. There was absolutely loads and loads of people there, to the point where to try and move around inside the mart was getting difficult. There was that many people, and obviously people standing talking business, talking to friends, talking to family. It was a real patience game. Loads and loads of absolutely free, like beautiful free food on the go. Free food, free drinks. There was food concessions outside in the yard beside the tractor displays, but for the life of me I wouldn't understand why you'd want to go outside and buy food when it was all for free inside on the stands, on the commercial stands. But it's been a long time. It had to be pre-COVID since we've been at an agri show that's been so well supported by business and by the community. The Aberdeen Angus Society was there as one of many. My daughter's a member of it, so I popped across to have a look at the competition, because the farmer that she very first bought her first bull and first heifers off always shows there every year. Donald from Lockerbie. So we popped across to see him, see how he's getting on. Honestly, some of the bulls have to be getting on for 1.5 ton. And when they're lying down in their pens, they nearly fill the pen from one end to the other. And yet they are so placid. They really are so placid. They just lie there. They tend to ignore the public as they're walking past, and it was extremely busy. Noisy. All the narration going on, unbelievable. Kids everywhere as well, but not in a bad way, you know what I mean? Not in a bad way. Just nipping around the stands, getting all the free stuff from the concession stands. Free hats, free cows. I've got 4 cows, I'll show you them later. I've got 3 black ones and a black and white one. I've got them outside here in my little backyard. So I'll show you. They're very quiet at the minute, but we'll show you them in a minute. We'll take you for a little walk around, we'll show you what herd of cattle we've been getting. Anyway, brilliant day out, absolutely brilliant day out. I think we turned up at just before 10 o'clock, thinking that we might be one of the early ones and that we can get into the car parks behind the mart. Oh, big mistake, big mistake. But it was just lovely, absolutely lovely to see everybody back out enjoying themselves. What else are we getting done this week? Well, if you watched the video yesterday morning, you'll see we've got the spool, the lowering rate valve spool, out of the valve chest eventually. And I don't know whether it was a combination of the fact that it had been steeped in diesel for 2 to 3 weeks earlier on the year. If you go back to the video where we stripped the valve chest, I'll put a link up here to it somewhere. Pop back and have a look at that video. We soaked the valve chest several times in diesel. We put it through many heat cycles in a pressure cooker to get it warmed up. The only thing I didn't do was to bag it and put it in a freezer. Now, that has a similar effect to the heat cycles, whereas when you cool different metals, they contract at different rates. The steel should contract quicker than the cast iron, and therefore in theory, and well, we're only talking thous here, we're only talking thous. I think the coefficient of linear expansion for cast iron is something like 0.003 per degree C, I think. I might be wrong on that one, but it's minuscule. In fact, it might not even be that. It might be 0.3 of a thou. Maybe 0.0003 per degree C. So we're talking minuscule. But if we can get things to move, as per Campbell's instructions, we ground up a set of pliers. I had a set of pointy nose pliers that were, I think I cut 3/16 off the end of this to get to a little bit. What I did, get my little spool out. Right, there's my spool there. What I did was I measured the distance. Have I got a pointy thing here? I measured the distance between that flange there and the inner edge of the sleeve that it was sitting in, and I came to that thickness there. So I cut the end off the pliers at that point, because that's the thickest that you can get that will go down and go over the top of there without contacting the walls. And I wanted the thickest part of the material, because bearing in mind this has been stuck for several months now, so I wanted the thickest amount of materials here in order to get a hold of it and pull. So measure that up, cut the end off the pliers. We then used the vernier to measure from that ring there to that deck, and it's 90 thou. So we got my Dremel out. 2 ticks, I'll grab me the little stone, I'll show you the stone I made. It's raining outside. So I've got this is on a Dremel stone. Can we say that? Yeah. I've got the stone, I shaped up the stone to be roughly the same shape as the back of the tit on that spool. And I tried to show you this on time lapse, but unfortunately it didn't work, did it? When I've checked back, the time lapse settings, there should be something like 1 every 5 seconds. For whatever reason, the time lapse settings was 1 a minute. So I'm surprised we've got any time lapse video at all. I still put it in the video, but looking at it, you think, doesn't show a thing, does it? Doesn't show you guys anything, because the second half of that time lapse video was using the Dremel to come in here and cut that out, so that the deepest part of the cut is 90 thou from the tip. So we had the maximum amount of material on the pliers to go in there and get a hold of that. It's in there like that. So we then, as you've seen in the video, and as per Campbell's instructions, clamped a pair of mould grips on to keep the jaws tight shut, and I just put a pinch bar in. And to be honest with you, the first time I put a pinch bar in and levered it, it moved, but it moved so easily that I had convinced myself the pliers had come off or the tips had snapped off. And I thought, well, you know, there's 30 minutes, 40 minutes worth of work away. We're going to have to regrind the tips again. And you see us look at the tips on the pliers, because I honestly thought the tips had come off. And I was totally surprised that we could go back in, grab it, put the pry bar back in and just ease it out. But anyway, and to be honest with you, when you look at the state of that spool, there isn't any horrible, nasty rust galling marks on it. You know, where it's like being seized in to the liner, to the sleeve inside the casting. So whether or not it's just been an awkward one to get a hold of, or whether it was stuck, and whether it was the heat cycles, the diesel cycles, or the white vinegar, because when we put it in white vinegar, and it was only in about 3 or 4 days, we did notice there was an awful lot of crap came out of that valve. An awful lot of crap. So in the video we're talking about going into it, we're talking about going into the valve chest itself. And I said I'm going to go in with some wire wheels and clean it out. Well, I didn't really mean wire wheels. What I meant was these wheels. I like a very stiff bristle. And like a flat disc one. So I'm just going to go in there with these wheels, with a Dremel, and we're going to clean all the crap off them threads, because that'll just pop in there nicely like that. And obviously we'll skeet up and down here with a Dremel, and we'll pull all the rubbish out of them threads. This has been back in diesel, by the way. When we got finished that day, give it a clean out, and it's just been sitting in that tub of diesel ever since. But over the moon with that. Over the moon. Thank you very much, Campbell. Your photographs were perfect. Your instructions were brilliant. Now I'm a happy bunny. I can send that away. Campbell's probably saying, well, just get it fixed yourself. Do it yourself. I think though, because of where it's going to go in the tractor, it's going to go deep inside the tractor. It isn't a 5-minute job to get it back out if it's not right. So I think I'm going to send it away. We're going to give this some more thought, aren't we? Right. Last week, when we were busy with the fuel sender, can you remember? I said to you guys, anybody got an old fuel sender or a fuel sender that's not in your tank, can you take some pictures, take some measurements, send us some information? Well, I got 2 replies for that. One from Brad Harris. Brad, thank you very much appreciated. Showing us his sender next to a tape measure, and we can get a load of good measurements off that. And what I'll do is I'll put these pictures into a community area for you guys out there who might be having the same problems. You can get a look at these pictures and get all this information from the pictures and from the emails that I got about it. The second person to send us some information was David Monkhouse, one of our regulars. He has sent us a series of pictures. If I cannot get them onto one community post, because one community post will only take 5 images, I'll put it onto the second one following it straight away. So there's a load of measurements, information, angles, brilliant bit of work. We'll get those 2 posts put up in our community area for you guys to go and have a look at. It just gives you all the information you need to know, so that if your sender looks like mine but is still in operating condition, it is possible that we can rebuild that and get it working, get it functional again. So, speaking of community areas, as we broke our 500 subscribers barrier, we now get access to this community area, which if you go to the home page, along the tabs at the top here, you'll see this extra tab, community. I've already started populating that. When you guys send me your pictures of tractors, any information, I pop it all up in the community tab so it's there forevermore. It'll remain there. You guys can go back to it, can refer to it. So all this information will go into that area for possibly Monday, Tuesday, we'll see when we get it in, but it will be in before the middle of the week, all this fuel sender information. So as I say, anybody who sent me pictures of tractors, anybody who's going to send me pictures of tractors, that's where we'll put them from now on. We'll pop these photographs up into that community area. Now again, speaking of community areas, Rob Evans, who kindly sent us the pictures of the Implematic, his red Implematic tractor that had been restored previous to his purchase, but no information, or very little information, came with the tractor. And Rob's asked us to ask you guys out there, have a look at the number plate in these pictures. Pop along the community area, have a look at Rob Evans' pictures, have a look at the number plate. If anybody has got any information about this tractor, can you drop me an email at manfromthemist@gmail.com, or go to the About tab up here at the top of my home page, go to the About tab, my email address is in there. Drop me some contact details for yourself. I'll get them across to Rob Evans, put the two of you in touch, and hopefully Rob will be able to get a bit more history linked to his tractor. I know what I'm doing at the minute with mine. Everything I purchase for this goes on a spreadsheet. Everything we do is documented. Well, that's not true. Not everything we do has been documented. From the point of beginning to assemble the engine, everything was documented on video. Might not be the best quality video in the world, but it was documented on video. Previous to that, I have lots of still pictures that I took for my personal reference. So at that point, like, the frames had been shot blasted, the front axles had been rebushed and reamed out, the trunnion pin had been fixed, the block had been away, been rebored, crankshaft reground, replacement camshaft, replacement oil pump, brand new valve train, valve seats recut. There was loads of things that had been done, but I've got still images of it. Now, when this goes on to a new owner, all of that will go with it, right? That'll be the spreadsheet with all the cost of the rebuilds on it, all the parts that went into it in that spreadsheet, the photographs, and obviously the guy will have a link to the YouTube video so you can come back and have a look and see exactly what was done to this. I'm hoping to have it in reasonable condition when I pass it on. But they always say with restorations, you should always leave something for the next owner to do, because he's buying it off you because he wants to do a bit of restoration. Well, if you've done everything, there's nothing for him to do, is there? So you got to leave a little bit for him. We'll see. I might just keep it for a bit longer. Over the last few videos, when we've been trying to get this started, I know the engine was timed up perfectly at the front. The timing gears went on. I remember the pump is timed up to where it was when it came off, and it was running when it came off. The score marks on the side of the pump here are lined up, but it would be nice to reference that against the top dead centre mark, wouldn't it? So remember these holes here. You put a pin in here, and they fit into, and I'll put some pictures up, they fit into dimples in the flywheel for to give you top dead centre. I was up in Brunton Airfield a couple of weeks ago, bumped into an old friend of mine, Ken, but up there was a Davy Brown. And it's the only one I have ever seen with the pin here. I've got a picture of it. I'll put a picture up for you. It's the only one with the timing pin on here. And you unscrew the pin, pop it in the other way, and it fits into one of these dimples in your flywheel and gives you top dead centre. I think it's going to be a bit subjective because it's just like a countersink dimple, it's not a hole. I do like the Massey Ferguson idea with a hole through the front plate, where you put a punch in or a screwdriver and you rotate your flywheel till it binds up, till it pops into the hole. And whilst yes, there's an occasion where you could possibly attempt to start the engine with that pin still in, because let's face it, we're all getting forgetful, and somebody must have done it in the past, mustn't they? But at least then you've got a positive location. Whereas I think with this dimple, I'm not sure that you have got a positive location there. But anyway, I've got to put a picture up for you. So, all right. So while we're going through the process of firing this up, you obviously discover leaks, and every tractor has them. You just work through them and try and eliminate them as best we can. So in order to eliminate the leaks from up here, can't see that yet, eliminate the leaks, because I think this is drawn air. The pump at that side is dry at the minute, but the input, this pipe where it goes into the pump, didn't really want to seal. And I know you're going to cringe, you are going to absolutely cringe, and you're going to pull your hair out and scream at us here. I put some PTFE on the end of the pipe to get it to stop leaking. And I know PTFE doesn't work with diesel, it just doesn't. But that's the only way I could get it to stop leaking, because it was literally pouring diesel out onto the floor. So what I've done, I'm going to change the way, because the pipe goes straight into the pump with a coupling, a male coupling on the back of it. So what we've done, I bought 2 GIC fittings. That is half UNF on that end with a GIC 37-degree taper on it. That is quarter BSP with a 60-degree taper in it. So what we're going to do, we're going to put that in the pump. We're going to put a bit of seal, a bit of weld seal on here. We're going to put a fibre washer on the. We're going to put a fibre washer on the back of here. Then we're going to go and get a quarter BSP nut and olive. I've got some soldering olives here. God, these are ancient. These are definitely well an electric material, these apprenticeship material. I've got these soldering olives that you put on the pipe and you solder on. See? So, might try and we'll have a hunt about and we'll get ourselves some quarter BSP nuts, female nuts that go onto this male thread. They're going in. That'll stop that end of the leak. So we got through the lift pump. We'll come across to the injection pump. We had a couple of leaks on various bits of nuts and bolts, and we tightened all those up, bled the diesel out of it. I need to adjust the idle speed on this, but we did, and we still have a leak from the cold start screw down at the bottom here. And I'll give you a quick, I'll walk you around this later on. So I mentioned this on the video, the second video, because between the first video and the second video, I took the cold start screw out to check to see if there was anything wrong with it in there. And it was down to a comment that came in from, I'm sure it's Mr. Skyrider. That's his channel name, Mr. Skyrider. And he was on about the operation of this cold start. So I took the cold start screw out of the pump. And going through the process, we realised that was actually a piece was missing. because in here, in where the screw is, and we'll, as I say, we'll give you a walk around in a minute. In where the screw is, there should be 2 O-rings and a spacer, and then that screws up into the pump body through the advance mechanism and seals that, so that as the diesel comes through the screw, it can't push back up past the O-ring and come out between the body and the advance unit. So I messaged Lance down in Australia, and I was also talking to Diesel Injector Supplies in the UK, and both very quickly came back with the answers of, no, that's bits missing. And Lance sent me a link to a DPA manual he has on his website at Queensland Tractor Spares. So I downloaded that, had a look at that. Diesel Injectors sent me also a diagram, everything highlighted in blue that should be in my pump. And they basically said, if it's not highlighted in blue, forget about it, it's not yours. And this is what was missing. It's tiny, isn't it? It's a little aluminium spacer. I think it was 185 or something like that for that, 185. And it's supposed to go O-ring, O-ring, spacer. So when you put the cold start screw into the pump body, the aluminium spacer comes up against the pump body and sandwiches the O-ring between that and the screw, the flange on the screw. And obviously that's not there, so the diesel's popping back out of there. However, pop that back in there for the minute so we don't fancy losing bits. So, what we then noticed was, and I'm thinking to myself, right, I mean that, right, so that arrived yesterday. So obviously, I haven't had time to put it in yet. But in the meantime, Shane, again, regular contributor from America, because I had mentioned on the video, I had a drop of diesel on the end of my screw, so obviously the diesel's weeping past the seals on the screw, on the push rod part of the screw, and following the thread out and dripping off the end of the little actuating screw. So I mentioned this in the videos. So Shane said to us, I've just been on to DB Parts. They've got the seals for these screws. Even though I had just been told by Diesel Injectors that the parts, in the internal parts of this screw were non-serviceable. I went straight on to DB Parts, and sure enough, they've got the set of seals for the inner screw. And it's an O-ring and a cone-shaped rubber washer that goes on top of the screw that when you put it all together, it seals up. So I've ordered one of them, that's coming. So, when it arrives, we're going to pull this cold start mechanism back out of here, and we're going to put all the parts on that should have been on in the first place, and we're going to reassemble it, see if it stops the leaks. Huh? You see, when I took this to bits and cleaned it and reassembled it and resealed it, because I took that out and I've resealed that with new O-rings, it didn't cross my mind for 1 minute that any of the internals would be missing, because you would think, well, why would you want to go in there? You know, it's like Shane said. Shane, he says, I've had this tractor for years and years. It's been in the family for years and years and decades. And he says, I always knew there was a screw there. And he says, I always knew if you turned it in, it ran rough, and if you turned it out, it ran properly. But he says, I never really understood how it operated as a cold start until I had explained the other day. And he says, mine has always leaked. He says, it always has. And he had just been putting up with it, as probably as everybody does when old tractors develop leaks. They just keep tidying it up. So, as I say, when we found out that the seals were available, I thought, right, okay, we're going to have these seals and we're going to pop them in. So, with a bit of luck, the seals might come Monday. So that means Monday, Tuesday, we'll get a little video put together, pulling the cold start back out. Does anybody else's GoPro do that? Just in the middle of a bit, for no reason, just shuts itself down, right? Battery wasn't flat, card wasn't full, it just shut itself down. I don't know. I give it that. Right. So anyway, back to what I was saying. I think. So coming up in the middle of the week will be a short video, pulling that screw out, stripping it down completely, putting it back together. So something else that's going to be coming up in the next couple of weeks, we're going to get all our parts put in, we're going to get these leaks stopped, we're going to get the injector pump idling speed set up so we can get the engine to run nice and smooth. I might even, I've got the alternator here, I might even give the alternator a quick wire brush just to clean it up. We'll pop a fan belt on so we can start to circulate some water, and we'll give it an extended run. There's Betty the blackbird kicking about again. Listen to her. She's full. Listen to her. What's the matter with you? What's the matter? Hello? What? There's worms and feed there for you. Aye, there is. Go on, get at it. Get it eaten. As my mother would say, you're not getting your pudding until you've eaten your dinner. So in the next couple of weeks, once we get this all sorted, this is getting drained and coming back off, because as you can see, this just eats the space in here. So this is getting drained and coming back off. At the minute, the engine is sitting with just plain water in it. There's no antifreeze or coolant protectant in there whatsoever. That will be getting drained. This radiator's coming off for the winter. Airframe will be coming back off for the winter. This lovely bright red air filter will be getting painted chocolate as soon as we get a reasonable day in which we can crack on and get it done. So basically, as we would have said in the boat world, we're going to winterize it. Okay, we're going to get it ready for the winter, we're going to get it wrapped up. The fuel will remain in the system from here to here. So all the fuel, the pump will remain full, the injector lines will remain full, everything will remain. But we're going to drain out the non-essentials. Oil's going to stay in. So that's a little task that we've got to do, and that'll probably be 2-3 weeks time if I were to get that sorted out. But it was, as I say, it needs to be winterized because there's no frost protection in here whatsoever. Plus as well, that's just plain water. It's not helping the block any, is it, in terms of corrosion. So we'll have to get that done. Right, well that's it for this week. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Check out our new community area for information and facts. Anybody who wants to send us some images of that tractor, or if you've got some information that you feel is vital to get out there to other people who own Davy Browns, send it across to us. We'll pop it in the community area for everybody to see. Alright? Well, it's absolutely pouring down outside, so I'm going to nip out quickly, just use my phone, get a picture of these this herd of cattle that we got yesterday. Hope you enjoy it. Not be long. Got them out here somewhere in the back garden. And here Betty champing away in the bushes there. Where are they? There's these. There's me herd of cattle hiding. Up there they are. There they are, look. 3 black ones and a black and white one. Not going to really get many Sunday dinners off them, are we? But never mind. Kept my granddaughter amused for a while. Okie dokie. Right, well thank you very much ladies and gents. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please give us a thumbs up. Subscribe, because it does help us out. I think we're up to 531, 32 or something as making this video. So it's still growing steadily. Thank you very much for all your help and all your assistance. I really do like reading all your comments as well. As I say, you've got any information to share, pop it down in an email. Email address is up here. Send it across. We'll pop it into the community tab for everyone else to use. Because as I say, not everybody has all of the answers, but collectively we do. We all have the answers. And don't forget, we really appreciate your time to come and view the channel. We realise everyone's got busy lives, and to take the time out to come and view us, we really, really do appreciate your support. Right, well thank you very much. Now, don't forget, don't overthink it. it's just nuts and bolts. We'll see you in the next one. Stay safe, take care. Bye now.